Morning. The time right now is 7:13. No tariffs just yet, but later in the day yesterday, after his inauguration speech, U.S. President Donald Trump suggested a 25% tariff could be put in place on February 1st. The threat of tariffs has politicians here bracing themselves. Chris Leahy from Whitby and Rowena Santos from Brampton are regional councillors, and they've put together an ad campaign showing the potential devastating effects of U.S. tariffs on the local economy. Chris Leahy and Rowena Santos join us now. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Nav.
Chris, I'll begin with you. How are you feeling today now that we've seen President Trump through his first day in office?
Well, if it's relief, it hasn't started on day one, but concerned that we need to double down our efforts because it's threatening to come on February 1st.
Tell me a bit more about that, because heading into the inauguration, we were unsure about what this tariff situation was going to look like. It was a lot of speculation, a lot of back and forth. And then in passing yesterday, while he was in the Oval Office, he had mentioned this date of February 1st. How is that personally making you feel right now, and what kind of impact could that have on Whitby?
Well, part of it is the concern from residents, right? Like, there's a lot of uncertainty. 10% of the economy out here in Whitby and Durham region is manufacturing-based. So a lot of those automotive parts and exports go to the U.S., so there's a huge impact to the local economy and local jobs. Part of our message is to reach out to our counterparts in the U.S. and explain to them that tariffs are going to increase all of the inputs and costs to manufacturers in the U.S., and there's going to be huge impacts to job losses there. Another piece is then, as Premier Ford said, is, if the tariffs go online, the electricity goes offline. In Whitby, we're between two huge nuclear power plants. We export a lot of electricity to the U.S., and if we have to shut that off, Americans might be buying a lot of candles. They need to understand what the impact is for the tariffs.
Yeah, that's a very interesting insight. Rowena, I want to bring you into this conversation. February 1st, that seems to be the date that's floating around. How is that making you and the residents of Brampton feel?
Well, trade wars like these tariffs and retaliatory efforts from here in Canada, trade wars are going to hurt local economies the most, local jobs the most. When a plant shuts down in Brampton or Barrie, Kingston, Peterborough, you name it, whatever city, we feel it in our cities with the most impact. And ultimately, when the U.S. president threatens jobs in our cities, of course, we're going to fight back. In Brampton, the CN Intermodal Hub in Brampton, 58% of the freight travels through Brampton by rail. Those goods go from Brampton to the U.S. and across Canada, full of auto parts, full of food products, full of consumer goods. So when the trains slow down, when the freight slows down, our jobs are going to be impacted.
I think the both of you have done a really good job in sort of explaining the municipal impacts of something like this. And I want to now get into this campaign that you've launched. I understand that you targeted ads to those in Washington, D.C. yesterday. Rowena, what was the message?
It's essentially to our U.S. counterparts, U.S. local representatives, that the impact that we're going to feel here in Canada with these tariffs and trade wars is also going to be the same for them in the United States. And so the ads were actually, we gave a sneak preview before the inauguration, posted it on social media, and now we went a little bit viral over here. So my video of this ad, which was dropped yesterday, got over 92,000 views on it, and Chris Leahy with his ad also very high numbers as well. So even without paying advertisement, we were getting a really good response, both from folks in the U.S. and Canada.
What were some of the comments like? And Chris, maybe I'll throw that question to you.
Yeah, so there's just comments we're getting from across Canada as well, and people wanting to join the fight, and some people from the U.S. just like, we support you and we agree with what you're doing. The tariff idea is a bad idea for the local economy in the U.S. So there's been great thoughts of support and messages of support. And with the geofencing technology, like we were talking about, we're able to target people's cell phones within a specific area at Washington, D.C., where the policymakers, decision makers, lobbyists are there to get that message across to the people at the decision-making table in Trump's office to say tariffs are bad for the U.S. economy. 36 U.S. states are their number one trading partner is Canada. Like this, we need to get that message across in that education because it's bad for the U.S., it's bad for Canada.
Rowena, why is it important for counselors like you and Chris to add your voices to this tariff conversation? Why not just leave it to the provinces and federal government to handle?
all orders of government must play on Team Canada with respect to protecting our economic sovereignty, protecting our local economies, protecting the jobs in our country. And so Chris and I wanted to make sure that our voices from the local perspective is also included in that fight. But ultimately, Nav, we are, as local municipal officials, the front lines of government. The residents, regardless of what the issue is, garbage or citizenship, we triage all of those calls. They contact us the most and trust us the most. So we want to make sure we're in that fight and have a response to the residents to say, yes, we're on Team Canada, and yes, we're fighting for your jobs.
We'll have to leave it there, but I do want to thank the both of you for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Nav.
Thanks, Nav.
That's Regional Councillors Chris Leahy from Whitby and Rowena Santos from Brampton. They are behind the campaign From City to City, an anti-tariff campaign.